Ah, yes. You hear that sound? That is the delicious taste of non-alcoholic athletic brewing. If you're looking for a change or you're sober curious, check out Athletic Brewing. Go to willcoca.com/athletic brewing. Use code WILLC20 and get 20% off your next purchase. Welcome, everybody, to the Will Coca Podcast. Another 5-Minute Friday starts now. Welcome, everybody, to another 5-Minute Friday. Look at us. We made it to Friday. How are you doing? I'm a little under the weather. I've been fighting a cold all week, hence the nasally tone of this episode. As I found myself having more time at home this week to just rest and get over this bug, I've been thinking about a lot of things, a lot of memories. Things are changing a lot in our household. We're getting ready for our baby to arrive, our baby girl, in a couple of weeks, hopefully, if not sooner. Just thinking of how we got here and the journey that brought us to this moment. I'm often obsessed with how things get from place to place and the little moments and nuances that create the memories. I used to have a old Subaru Outback when I was dating my now wife, Caitlin, and this was a piece of work. Granted, I was living on a performing musician wage, which is not much, mostly pizza and beer at the time, but managed to get a few coins to get this, what I thought was a very luxurious vehicle. Hey, I could fit guitars in it, I could fit gear in it. What else do you need? The one thing that kept happening in this car is that check engine light kept coming on and off, and I had no rhyme or reason to it. In my 20s, that just meant maybe slow down a little. Maybe at some point you might want to get this car checked out. One memory I have is on one of our first dates, Caitlin and I put the car in reverse, got out of the driveway, pulled back, and as I put the car in drive, check engine light came on, and the car did not go into drive. It kept going backwards. That may be a sign that, well, it's time to actually take it in and check the engine. There were times where we kind of just ignored it, and it was what it was, but we created some amazing memories then. I remember we drove to the coast, and we had an amazing time as 20-somethings falling in love, watching the sunset and the waves crash against the beach. Now, if we would have paid attention to the check engine light and let that fear kind of win over, we wouldn't have had those memories of that day, of that moment. I wonder what check engine lights pop into our minds at times that prevent us from having moments like that. Or maybe they pop up so that we can have some self-preservation and tackle the next thing to come. Some folks can call it a flight response, but ultimately it's still the same decision, right? Either we buy into it or pay attention to it, or we don't. And each one comes with its pros and cons, and sometimes we're not able to see that till much later. I have this check engine light that comes on in social situations where I don't necessarily feel not comfortable, but not part of what's happening. Now, this is something that I struggle with for a long time. I think that most of the time when that check engine light comes on for me, it's one that I need to push through. I've been known to practice the European exit and just slide away from situations like this when that check engine light comes on. There are times where if I maybe would have stayed and had some conversations, some pretty cool opportunities would have presented themselves. So as you go into the weekend, you may have some check engine lights that come on. Are you going to choose to ignore them or push through? Whichever it is, I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you again for listening. This has been another 5-Minute Friday.